Welcome to this video on where we will be covering how to use ScriptRunner to automate 3 of the most common tasks in your Microsoft Exchange environment. The first very common recurring task for a Microsoft Exchange environment is the creation of distribution lists. The action pack does include a new EX distribution group commandlet set that is primed and ready to be turned into an action. If we modify this to view some of the properties, these are the parameters that are included by default with this script. We're going to exit this and create a new action from this script. You can see some of the basic information here. Going on to the next slide, we are going to target our Microsoft Exchange environment target. The remainder of these values we will be skipping and leaving the defaults. If you wish to delegate, you can also do that here as well. And hit OK. Now at the Actions menu, let's test run our new action in ScriptRunner by hitting Run, inputting the 2 default parameter values that we need, so the group name and primary SMTP address. I'm also going to include a couple of other attributes just to show this in action. With those values now in place for my test group 1, let's hit OK and run this. We can see the result that this did successfully run and there were 0 script errors. And we can see here that our test group was in fact created according to ScriptRunner. Let's check this in Microsoft Exchange, viewing our distribution groups, and we can confirm that this test group was created successfully. The next most common task we're going to tackle with ScriptRunner is the modification of Mailbox quotas for your users inside of Microsoft Exchange. Again, the action pack does include an EX Mailbox quotas script that we are going to now turn into an action. We are going to select our Microsoft Exchange target value. And then for the remainder of these options, if you wanted to specify parameter values, you could, but we are going to leave the defaults on all other options of this script. And here you would be able to delegate as well. Hit OK. Just to give a quick overview from the Exchange Admin Console of our current settings, we do have a prohibit send at 2 gig and a prohibit send and receive at 2.3 gigabytes. Back at ScriptRunner, we are going to modify these values inside of Exchange using our action. We are going to run this against the mailbox ID of David. We can specify the value either megabytes or gigabytes, and the script will handle that modification for us. If we wish to use a non-default mailbox quota amount, we do need this to be a false for the parameter value. And then scrolling down to the prohibit send quota, this will be when we want to limit. So this was the 2 gigabyte limit previously in Exchange. We're going to set that to 5, and we're going to up the send receive quota to 6 gigabytes. With those parameter values in place, we are now going to hit OK. In review of our ScriptRunner action completing, we can see that there were 0 script errors. That is always a good sign. And if we scroll down, we can see that the prohibit send quota and the send receive quotas were appropriately updated during this action run. Going over to Exchange just to double check, let's check that same mailbox that we looked at previously. Here we can see that the prohibit send has been updated to 5 gigabytes, and the prohibit send and receive value has indeed been updated to 6 gigabytes on this mailbox. The final of the 3 most common issues you can encounter and resolve by using ScriptRunner is going to be modifying the primary SMTP address of a mailbox inside of your environment. Say an individual went through a rename process, a legal rename such as a marriage, and they wanted to modify their email to match their new legal name. It is in this location on Microsoft Exchange where you can come in and manually modify a primary or secondary SMTP address or add additional ones. We are going to use ScriptRunner instead to automate this process in the event of a name change request or an email address request. It is just our luck that the action packs provided by ScriptRunner do have a set mailbox properties script that we can leverage for this purpose. If we take a look, we can see that the alias property here is what we will want to leverage as part of this script to modify that primary SMTP address value. It is the default behavior of Microsoft Exchange when you update or modify the alias value on a mailbox that no other email addresses are deleted outright, but are instead converted into secondary SMTP address values. This is perfect for our maiden name to married name adjustment that we're going through in this example. Let's see this in action as we modify my mailbox to include a new full name as my primary SMTP address. So, using the EX mailbox properties, let's create a new action. We're not going to modify anything on the first pane, but we will target Microsoft Exchange as we have in others. And here we can see the parameters that will be used inside of this script. We are going to allow all of these to be used and leave them as default and hit OK. And now we are going to run this script and see it in action as it modifies my primary SMTP address. We scroll down to our set mailbox properties action, input the mailbox ID. So this is the identity in Exchange for my mailbox. And then we will modify the alias value. So I'm going to use the full name instead of the current, which is just my first name. Upon running this script, the expected behavior would be that the primary SMTP address on my mailbox would now be updated to that appropriate value. Let's see this in action from the report. There are no script errors. That is always a good sign. And if we scroll down just a bit, we can see that the new Windows email address has in fact been confirmed as david.pikawa@mydomain. We're now going to switch over to Exchange just to confirm. So after refreshing our mailbox information, the primary SMTP address or the email address value that is the default on my mailbox has in fact been updated. And if we go into this mailbox and review the email addresses available, we do see and can confirm that the alias value being updated did update my primary SMTP address values. In this particular instance, I do have two domains, which I've updated the alias for, so both domains are now updated as well. This default behavior for modifying each domain can be adjusted inside of the Exchange Admin Console by using the email address policy options. I hope this video has been informative on how you can leverage ScriptRunner and its action packs inside of your Microsoft Exchange environment. Thank you.